Alford. He's excited to see you all today.
Absolutely.
Tony?
Hey, Tony.
Hi.
First, it's a wonderful name. Secondly,
Agreed.
we've heard a lot about the Jordan Marshall and Justice Haynes are sort of 1A, 1B. What sort of, are you defining roles, like maybe like, do you see one as a short yardage guy, as a goal line guy? How do you?
No, that's a good question, but no. Both guys are adept at doing the entire offense, complete players. They're both very talented dudes. So, yeah, but there's no defined roles like this guy's going to do this guy's going to do. There's some things that maybe you're better at. And, Jordan, I'll say if you said I had to pick someone to go for short yardage, I'd probably go with him. He's the more rugged in between the tackles a little bit. But to sit there and say that Justice couldn't go in short yardage and goal line, that'd be a falsehood whatsoever. They're both capable of doing that.
And obviously, they're complete, dynamic, we know that, but can you just compare and contrast their games a little bit? Like, is one better in pass pro? Is one
I would say this, if I had to kind of cut it up a little bit, I'd say that Justice may have some more big play potential out on the perimeter and things like that. He's probably a little more apt to take the ball out on the perimeter a little bit more than Jordan is. As Jordan's strict, he wants to go north and south, and he's a banger that way. And it's shown that he can do that, but he can also get you in the perimeter just as Justice can get you interiorly. They both catch the ball well. I think Jordan probably a little more ahead right now in the pass protection scheme as far as just the attributes of executing the block itself, not to where they fit in protection, but actually executing the block. They're both good at it, but I'd say Jordan's a little further ahead right now. But I would say I think Jordan might get mad at this, but I'd say that Justice probably has a little more top end speed. So those would be different. They're both capable of doing all those things.
On the left, Chris?
Who will get the first carry on Saturday?
Don't know yet. We're going to go through practice. We've heard the 1A, 1B, all those things. So we're going to go through another day of practice and we'll decide. And quite frankly, I don't care. Both of them are going to play an extensive amount. They both know that. I've talked to them both about that as far as the rotating and things that they're both fully aware of. That's going to be how it goes. But who gets the first carry, I don't know. It really doesn't matter.
Yep. And then Jasper, I think it was Sharon said on Monday that he had kind of emerged as a potential number 3.
Potentially, Micah Kapana's really had a good couple weeks. Kuzdal's done well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works out too. Who goes in that third slot.
Stay on the left, Anthony.
Chip has a history of getting the backs a little more involved in the passing game.
Yep.
How has your room improved there, and who stood out the most in that area?
Wow, I think all of them actually caught the ball pretty well. I think the one guy who I think is very dynamic in space would be Micah Kapana. He's a little smaller. He has gotten bigger, but and gained some weight that he needed to do. But he is dynamic with the ball and hanging out in space. So they've all done a pretty good job of that.
On the right here, Zach.
When you first recruited Justice out of high school, what was one of the first things you noticed about him? And then also, how have you seen him grow since that point?
Yeah, I'd say he loves ball. Loves ball. And the way he takes care of his body, his approach every single day. He's in the film room a lot. He's got a very, very high football IQ, and he studies the game. And that's what I saw out of high school, and it's just continued on even more. Obviously, I wasn't with him those first couple of years, but even more so now the kid watches film with me every night. After practice, he sits with me and watches the tape and goes over it. And he's in this building an awful lot, watching a lot of time, so he studies the game.
And what do you see from his day-to-day, and then also just the competitiveness that he attacks every day with?
Like I said, his day-to-day, he's a football guy. Now, granted, he's got his degree, right, from the University of Alabama, so he's got a little bit more time than maybe some of the other guys to spend in this building and watching film and studying. But the way he approaches his body and taking care of his body as far as nutrition, sleep, hydration, all of those things, it's almost overboard, right? That he does such a great job with, and he's brought that maturity. He's very mature that way. He's brought that into our room, so a lot of guys get to see that. I think it's great for Jasper to be able to see, and then Jordan for that matter as well, to be able to just see the mentality and approach that he has to his daily walk in football.
On the right here, Aaron.
You mentioned not necessarily having defined roles for Justice and Jordan. How are you going to decide on snaps and?
Again, we're going to rotate, and now what that rotation is, a two series, I don't know. That'll play itself out, and I think a lot of game situation kind of takes place too. And you look at Jordan, if you remember in the bowl game, go back, going to the bowl game, and him and Ben Hall were kind of sharing carries